oh, we get naked. I'm kind of excited. So like we do our little dance, the parachute goes up, get up underneath the parachute, and I'm like, this is the time. I'm like taking clothes off. I'm probably hitting people in the face with my clothes because I'm kind of excited taking it all off. And I then look around, and I am literally the only person who's naked in this troop of actors and everything else. And I'm like, oh.
They call me a listener. They say that I should start to explore everything. Oh, I may be a listener, and maybe I should. There's joy in the message I bring. Shane Train, Shane Train. I am free and at ease. I record what I please. Shane Train, Shane Train, Shane Train.
Recording.
Yes, we are.
Your voices amuse me.
Oh, man, I need to take a breath.
I need to be able to talk.
Yeah.
Am I coming across okay?
Damn good.
Yeah, you're good.
That's awesome.
You're Gucci.
You guys know about today's episode?
Pretty excited about this one.
Dude, you guys know more than I do. So this is my buddy. His name's Chris Plough. I met him at an event it's probably been a couple years in Vegas. It was like a personal mastermind thing, and he was like super inspirational in this small setting, and I was like, he can really cut deep quickly, super like empathetic. I could feel what I was feeling, and so I saw him at another event later, and we've been in touch a bunch since. And it's funny, I knew some light stuff about him. Like I knew he did this weird shit, like he crossed Siberia on a motorcycle. Something weird like that. I knew you guys told me today he's performed on stage naked.
Yeah, that's the one that really blows my. I mean, okay, so ambulance from the UK to Mongolia.
That's what else? Like
that's a crazy story. A motorcycle to the Arctic. I mean, come on, man.
I knew he was adventurous and interesting, and now I'm looking at his bio. I don't want to slaughter his bio. We're gonna have to ask him to kind of hit his bio.
Well, you go ahead and tell us about you.
He's done a lot.
Yeah.
You're going to hear this guy and you're going to be like, I get why you love this guy.
See, what I'm, beyond all the adventure stuff, what I'm most excited about is his inspiration for other people.
Yeah, I didn't realize how deep this went.
Yeah.
I knew he was good. I just didn't realize the influence he was having.
Let's switch gears a little bit.
Whoa. Let's Gambay a little bit.
Whoa.
Okay.
Before that.
All right.
Okay.
Where is our motherfucking pallet?
What?
Yeah.
Jameson, where is it, dude?
Oh.
You're shipping and receiving for ShaneTrain. Where is it?
Yeah, Jameson whiskey. Pallet hasn't arrived. Get on it.
I would really think by now they felt the fear.
Yeah. I also want to point out, too, that we made our Twitter the other day, and we're following one person.
Yeah, and we will unfollow you, Jameson.
Yeah, let's make this be
if
known.
That pallet doesn't show
that
up.
follow is like
You're
really...
the only one we're following.
And that's, unless you guys end up being like, I want this liquor.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You'll be done. We might have.
You guys know my feelings about this liquor. So.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Cat's assholes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And now Shane and I are in, defiant defense of that. It is not cat's assholes.
Jameson's bomb, dude. We got to give you some real cat's assholes like Dickel whiskey.
Yeah, or some Lord Calvert.
Full on calling
you guys
them
have,
out.
I think you guys have inadvertently made me snobbish.
Yeah,
without
sure.
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I've never
you started with the best.
Yeah, I've never.
So now if you did go backwards, you'd be like, this is horrible.
Can I get a Gambay, motherfucker?
How long do I, okay.
All right.
Never mind.
You guys need a Gambay? I know you guys don't like pouring your own shots.
No, it's kind of a rule. You're not supposed to pour your own shot.
Damn, I pour my own every day.
I know. You're kind of anal, though.
Yeah.
Let's just be real here.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I'll pour.
That's awesome, you, Mr. Shane Train.
Will, the voice, without going into too much depth, I mean, you got back from the time of your life.
I had one of the greatest, okay, so hard.
Did you just pour my shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pour it out into the bottle.
Whoa. No.
Let me re-pour.
There's a rule. Look at you. Man, if the audience could see the shit-eating grin on Mason's face. Before we jump into this talk with Chris Plough, I had one of the most memorable times of my entire life. And that was realizing that all the goodness is on the other side of fear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm such a firm believer of that.
Yeah. And, I'm pretty secure in my own skin. I really embrace a lot of fear. I've done a lot of things that have really kind of got that in the gut. But this really tapped every resource I had. And I
a little deeper.
I went all in. You guys saw me the day I came back. I couldn't even talk.
The trainer texts me and he's like, I think Will had a hell of a time. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's an understatement.
He texts you, huh?
Yeah, shout out to discoverleadership.com. Mike Jones, that guy's like a mentor of mine.
Game changer.
Yeah, big time.
Real.
If you want your life to be forever changed.
If you want us to keep talking about you, Discover, we're going to need...
Yeah, we're going to need a pallet of Discover.
Yeah, I want some T-shirts. I want another acorn chain.
Yeah. Let's Gumbe.
Yeah, let's Gumbe. Oh, really quick, let me finish just about Mike really quick.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, I've met a lot of great people in my life, and I've met a lot of inspirational people, you know, and I pride myself on wanting to be one of those inspirational people. Mike lives it.
Yeah.
Lives and breathes it. That man found a way to see through an entire group of people, identify what they needed, and give them what they needed. It was up to them to take that receive.
Dude's an animal.
Wow.
Beast.
Just to hit on Mike just a little, like when I've been there 4 times, he pushes it harder than I can push it. I'm 33. I don't know how old he is, but he's not 33. So he's got grown-ass kids.
33.
Yeah.
Dude was on Oprah.
He was?
Yeah, you can't fuck around if you're on Oprah.
You haven't been on Oprah?
Yeah, have you been on Oprah?
No.
Sorry, homie.
You guys ready?
You get a car. You get a car. You get a car.
Gombe.
You get a Gombe.
Gombe.
Let's have a badass Chris Plough interview.
Let's do it.
We say interview, just a chat.
Man, my voice sounds like shit.
I am going to mute because I'm respectful.
I just want them to have reference for what we're doing right now.
You two have mute switches. I do not.
Ooh, you're committed, man.
I know. Committed.
Why don't you? We have enough.
We don't have enough.
Oh, do we only have 2?
We only have 2.
Oh, yeah. I can make more.
That's all
hopefully.
right. I expected you to think of me before. You don't have to think of me now.
We'll get it.
I didn't choose this headset.
I gave it to you.
Thank you. Because I'm really noisy.
Are we ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I
Here
can't
we
wait
go.
to start chatting.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to call Mr. Plough. I like that little voice crack you just hear.
It's like puberty all over.
Oh, that hurts.
Chris.
Actually, I think I went video as well. Hold on one sec, see if I can change this back to audio.
Chris, you're not the first one.
I like the confidence, man.
You can see me!
It gives us
Yeah.
reference, yes.
I guess we can hold you up if you want to watch us while we
Man,
talk.
there's a face for podcasting, Chris. Holy moly.
Wait, whoa.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say here?
I'm saying I love you and I miss you, man.
Whoa, I did not expect to get into a Hallmark moment this early.
I know. I'm like a huge fan of this guy. Chris, you might not realize it, but you cut deep fast, super empathetic, you feel what I'm feeling, and you've helped me out a bunch. I just want to tell kind of where we're at. So we've been talking about you a little. I've read your bio as far as some of the key things that stick out as crazy.
Yeah.
UK to Mongolia ambulance, performing naked, motorcycle across Siberia. But I didn't want to slaughter your kind of business background and what you're doing because I ain't good at reading. So I was wondering if you could just give us a couple minutes on who you are, what you do, if that doesn't feel too weird.
Yeah, no problem. My background is diverse, so don't worry. You're not the first to ask such questions. So I had built a company in the logistics space, software space, and we grew from 2 people to about 120 something worldwide.
Wow.
8-figure company with offices in Philadelphia, Singapore, and Australia. We acquired our partners overseas. And that is the company Mavenwire that I exited last year. So I have quite a bit of business experience in that we were selling primarily to enterprise customers. So like Coca-Cola, DHL, FedEx, Newell Rubbermaid, those were my customers. What I found along the way, though, was that the team I'd built was amazing, and the culture we had was phenomenal, but the mission wasn't important to me. And I had been working my way out for a while. And so that's where you see the shift in my life. And so the things that are going on now are more the things that we've talked about. How do we empower the next generation of entrepreneurs? And besides the retreats and the personal stuff that we're doing, I believe Exponential University is the biggest component of that. And that's me, James Ton, and James Wallace, creating the next generation accelerator and investment fund to take meaningful startups forward and help them shape this world.
Wow.
So awesome, man.
Chris, this is Will. We've been talking for a while.
Yeah.
Should I just pack up now and be done? Because I can't top that.
Shit.
Like, I feel very lazy when I go home.
Yeah, dude.
Well, okay, and then in other parts of my life, I'm a complete fuck up. So don't worry.
Now you're talking my
See, that builds credibility.
Yeah, now
That's a credibility tool of like, hey, I'm real too.
now you brought a balance to the conversation.
Well, and I think that's important, right? So where this conversation go anywhere you guys believe it can. I trust you guys to build a conversation that will have value to your audience. The one thing I would request, though, is that we share both the highs and the lows, the good and the bad, because I think there's too many stories out there that are just achievement, success bullshit without that alienate people, because you don't really talk about the hard shit that we all go through as well. Right?
Amen, man. Seriously, I feel like I hate watching highlight reels because I want to know the reality between the highlights.
Yeah.
I think it just builds way more credibility with listeners, for sure. I feel that same way, man.
There's a time to get pumped up, and then there's a time to be real.
Yeah. And some of these noteworthy things, like, do you want to pick your favorite between the ambulance, the naked, and the motorcycle across Siberia? Like, and just run with one and we'll see where it goes? Because I think those are, like, amazing stories.
Thank you. Yeah. I'll give you two, and you choose again what fits best. So, the ambulance was one of the biggest inflection points of my life. It went from me being near suicidal and having a dark point in my life to realizing I needed something else and choosing a better path. That was about, almost 6.5 years ago. And then the motorcycle to the Arctic Circle was, I think, my grandest adventure, where I had to, for the first time in my life, actually contemplate my own mortality.
Oh my God.
Wow. I would say either of those, and you choose what best fits you and the audience, man.
Another guy who hasn't spoken is Millennial Mason. He's the third guy.
What's up?
Do you want to call it, Mason?
How you doing, brother?
Good. Yeah, I want to hit the first one because I think a lot of us, I think everyone here has had those experiences with suicidal thoughts and depression, and I think it's something we've all struggled with at some point in our life. So
we've already dabbled that topic, so it'd be a great one, man.
Let's hear it.
Well, you like that one?
The first one,
What's
yeah.
wrong with them?
Yeah. Your answer was kind of ambiguous.
I was just like,
I want to run with the first one.
Yeah, let's hear the first one.
Let's go with Mongolia here.
This isn't me, right?
No. Chris, you running with Mongolia?
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Perfect.
All right, so we will lead. Just introduce us to what Mongolia was. Now, I don't know why on earth you'd be in an ambulance going 10,000 miles.
Fair enough. So Mongolia, if I have to share the story of Mongolia, and I'm glad to, I just need to take a couple of steps back.
Perfect.
To understand what Mongolia was and why it was such a shift.
Okay.
So I'd started my own company, Maven Wire, and that had happened back in 2006. And for me was a large part of my identity, right? Like Maven Wire success was my success. And my ego was wrapped in it. My identity is wrapped in it. And when Maven Wire was doing well, that was amazing. But near the end of 2007, a couple of things happened. So at the end of 2007 was kind of that difficult part in growing a company where you start to get into the grind. And then at the end of the year, I had a personal tragedy. Just for context, and I share this only for context. Anybody who listens, I need you to know that I've worked through this and I'm completely okay.
Okay.
But it helps with the context. And I lost both of my parents at the end of December 2007 in a very tragic way.
Oh my God!
It wasn't
dude.
an accident or car or anything else. It's something a little harder to wrap your head around than that.
Dude.
But I was disconnected from myself at the time. I wasn't really self-aware. And instead of dealing with it, I just took that and I went home for about 2 weeks to kind of like deal with the funeral and help my grandmother and stuff. I never really processed the emotions. And I took it and I just, stuff it away inside, down deep.
Yeah.
And came back and then just threw all of my energy further into Maven Wire, right? So when you've got a startup, the beautiful thing is you can always throw more hours at it, and that can distract you from life. And so I started working 80, 90, 100-hour weeks to keep things going. Then that, kept going for a while, started to lose some of the ground points and anchors that we have, the relationships and intimacy and all those other things in life kind of started to go by the wayside. Then at the end of 2008, we had taken a huge bet with a company, created this large hosting infrastructure, and one of our key customers, the customer I was counting on and had made a huge investment in order to support, went bankrupt.
Oh, geez.
And it put a lot of financial pressure on us as a company, and then me personally, because I had like $300 and some odd $1,000 on an Amex that I couldn't pay off.
Oh.
And so I had them hounding me and everything else, right? And then, this depth of trying to keep this company going, trying not to fire everybody, but pretending inside the company like, hey, everything's okay, it's going to be cool, led me to just feeling more and more alone, more and more isolated, more and more in my own problems, right? Which isn't true. We're all supported. We are around beautiful people who want to help us, but sometimes our perspective gets so shrunk down that we just feel literally isolated and alone.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I was. And I started doing very reckless things. So I've had depression in my life, and I've dealt with it. And I've had particular moments where it got deep. There was a time much earlier in my life where I had a shotgun in my mouth. So I know the edges here, and I speak from experience. And so anything that I say that's light is just coming from that experience and having understood it.
Well, and I appreciate your honesty.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. I didn't get quite to that point, because I wouldn't ever allow myself to get back to that point. But instead, what I was doing is every chance I got, I'd take my motorcycle out and I would drive it like a madman. And I was literally driving it like I didn't care about my life, because I didn't.
Oh my God.
And things were happening. Like there was one time, and I joke about this, but it's not really funny. Within the span of about 3 miles, I was pulled over by a cop, and he gave me 9 different infractions, including reckless driving. That was one incident. Another was I would never, and these are the weird rules we come up with ourselves, I'd never drive drunk, but I, at the time, would allow myself to ride drunk. Wow. Because I was, the logic was I'm only risking my own life. Again, absolutely not true. I don't believe it or condone it now, but that's where I was at the time. And I left a friend's house. I was going way too fast around a corner, slid out, and slid the motorcycle on the ground, and then it hit a curb and skid across the curb for like another 40 feet and totaled the bike. I was pulled in by a police officer, given a test and everything else for sobriety, all of that stuff. And friends saw me doing these things, but they didn't quite understand what was going on, because I wouldn't allow them to see the depths. They just saw Chris as being wild and reckless and so on. He's, that crazy guy, Chris, when I think a lot of it was a cry for help. But even I didn't know how to ask for help. Wow. But one friend is like, I had a Halloween party, came over. He's like, hey, you know what you would enjoy? I'm like, dude, I don't know. What would I enjoy? He was like, there's these crazy fuckers. Excuse my language. I don't know how it works on this podcast.
No, this is free language podcast.
Whatever. Yeah, go for it.
Beautiful.
Fucker.
Crazy fuckers called the Adventurists in England. And they do this thing that they drive an ambulance, drive vehicles, these crazy vehicles from the UK to Mongolia, 10,000 miles. Yeah.
Just to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Just to do it, right? And then you raise money for charity along the way, and the vehicle's donated to the Mongolian government when you get there. There's purpose behind it, but it's this grand adventure.
It's right? So awesome.
It's like a weird gumball. Do you ever seen that gumball thing with the exotic cars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Think about that, but like instead of $100,000, $1 million cars, it's the worst pieces of trash you can imagine.
The ghetto gumball.
So cool.
Is there a Netflix documentary? I think is it a Netflix documentary or is it a TV show?
Which one?
Are you
I
thinking
don't know if
about
there is
Cannonball
for
Run?
this-
No, The Adventurers. I swear
Oh.
there's something like that, but
Yeah,
I
it's
just
the
dated
Adventurists.
myself.
The Adventurous.
Yeah, they do a few different. So this is like one of their adventures, and they have a few different ones. And what I like about it is they essentially set up like the structure for it and say, hey, we're going to start here on this date. And hey, if you make it to the end by this date, we'll have a party.
What?
And there's nothing in the middle. Like it's all on you, right? Your responsibility, no safety net, like the real enjoyable type of adventure.
That's so
We should
weird.
do that.
Wow.
10,000 miles?
It's
We'll raise money, dude.
I didn't know you could drive that
yeah.
far.
So let me
They
get
have shorter ones as well. Like they like rickshaw across India. I've done that one.
Oh
They
my
have other ones as well. So it's like kind of like a choose your
Why does that
own
seem harder?
torture.
Yeah.
Way harder.
Okay, so I definitely want to cover what's going on in Mongolia, but you have to jump over to India in just a minute because you should see my eyes. They just totally. And please excuse me, I'm barely getting my voice back. So if you're having a hard time catching me, we'll go into that later. But let me, if I can just get a sense of where you're at. So it sounds like you were in this position where you were willing to risk yourself, and now you found a way to almost take those masks off.
I think yes. The one little caveat I'll put on there, because I think a lot of us see a point of salvation and we don't realize it or we rebel against it for a while. My friend said this to me, and my first response was, "Yeah, someday, when I've made enough money and all these problems have gone away, I'll do it someday, right?" And I put it out there.
Okay.
But some of these ideas, right? They're like this little seed that's planted in your brain. They keep coming back.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wouldn't that be great? Every time life was hard, I'm like, man, I could be in Mongolia right now. And it kept coming up. And so I'm like, you know what? We're going to do this. I'm going to make this happen no matter what. Because if I'm going to leave this world, I want to have one grand adventure before I do. And we did, me and two friends. We decided to use an ambulance because it was obnoxious and big.
I was going to ask that. Why an ambulance? Just for fun.
Yeah. Well, and you could like sleep in the back because there was two gurneys and the floor. So my two friends would sleep in the gurneys and I slept on the floor of it. So it became like a little RV of some sorts as well.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Dude, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
go
I
ahead.
was going to say, how does an ambulance handle? Was it like a decent ambulance or was it like the worst driving experience ever?
Well, it's not. It handled the roads of Europe and the beginning of Russia really well.
Okay. This is
As
great.
we got into the end of Russia where things got really rough, and then we got into Mongolia, it was horrible. It's not an off-road vehicle. We kept getting stuck, having to get pulled out. And then the rigors of this journey started to take over. So just for context there, like the last 1,200 miles, no brakes. I mean, no brakes, like no parking brake,
Holy
no
shit.
pedal brakes.
What?
There are zero brakes on it for 1,200 miles.
Downshift?
Yeah.
Yeah, downshift.
Cut
You
out the
got it
floor,
exactly.
go Flintstone style.
Dude.
Yep. We had to stop rock, so we had to stop to gas it through the rock out in front of it to get it.
Oh my God.
We couldn't stop the vehicle from running because the starter stopped about the same time, and so we had to stop on hills and push start it to get it going.
Oh my God.
We cracked the frame, and so like they started like sagging. One of the doors fell off. One of the struts started like ripping through the wheel well, and we had to fix it with a couple of bars from the gurney and a bunch of nylon straps.
Wow.
And we had to, like, every couple of hours, we'd have to adjust it because that was the only thing keeping that wheel literally on and in the right position.
You know what the best part about all that is that when you get to the end and you're like, all right, here's your new ambulance. There are no brakes. The wheel is coming.
Yeah.
I'll send this to you when it's over. It's funny. So we were pushing so hard, and then luckily, like this weird cold front blew through the Gobi Desert, and it was, instead of like the hot temperatures you normally get in the desert, especially, and this was like August and September, we started hitting these freezing temperatures. But it worked perfectly because we couldn't keep water in the radiator. So I was running the ambulance for days without any coolant at all, right?
Wow.
The problem is right at the end, the temperature started to rise again. And 250 miles outside of Ulaanbaatar, we blew the engine because we couldn't keep any coolant in it. So my friend went forward to Ulaanbaatar. He got, I'm like, just find I don't know, a tow truck or something. I'll stay here with the vehicle. We'll work this out. And I was pissed. I was just sad that we couldn't complete the journey the way I needed to. So close. But two things happened then. One is I used that night and that personal solitude to have a little vigil for my parents in the middle of the desert, right? Because by this time I'd had so much time to unpack emotions and feelings and everything else that my path forward became clear, and I finally started to deal with all these emotions. So it was a beautiful moment, and I think it was destined to happen. And the second thing is he comes back, and I'm expecting a tow truck. He comes back with this big rig that literally has a flatbed and a crane arm on it. And so we have video of them like lifting up an ambulance. It's barely able to hold the weight of it, and like with a crane and lifting it up and in. And then when we got there to drop it off, it was like, here's your ambulance, Osnog style, which was our brand. And then, like, you're pulling it, it's like being lifted by a crane, like dropped down when it's all like it was fun.
They're like, we don't take donations anymore. You can go ahead and take that back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, we're going to part this thing out. We don't think it's going to serve us other than parts.
Yeah,
but they had 3 or 4 others like it, and so it actually worked out well. And it was that journey, man. Like it was that journey of just having that space in life. So imagine going from a life where you have all these pressures on you, like we all do, right? And this isolated world, to now being a group of 3 people pushing through every obstacle you can imagine, developing this incredible trust to be able to go through, trading in the false pressures that we feel, like deadlines and emails and all this other stuff in our life, for real pressures like I have to find food and a place to sleep and safety and everything else, right? Things that I think our bodies are more accustomed and used to dealing with.
Yeah.
And then just having, we were out there for 47 days, I think 42 or 47 days, and having that much ass in seat time to just process and work through all the stuff that began to like come up subconsciously. And like it was one of the greatest inflection points of my life, literally, because I came away from there realizing how toxic my life was that I'd created, and everything that I thought I wanted that I didn't really want, and realizing there had to be another path. I didn't know what it was because I didn't know what other path there could be, but I knew it had to be out there, and I knew I could find it. And that was, I would not be here today without that particular experience in that time and space. And I'm so grateful for it.
Wow, dude. So, Chris, I've known you for, almost a couple of years. This Chris Plough that I know, did this kind of begin around that time, or has it just been one big smooth transition into this? Or did you have was it a dramatic change, or?
I don't know that any transition, at least for me, is smooth, right? So it's been an incredible point of learning. The one thing I rely on a lot in life is that I'm an incredibly fast at learning and disassembling and adapting. And whether it's me or somebody else, I would rather know the truth, as painful as it might be, rather than some falsity that feels good, right?
Yeah.
And so the Chris that you know is far from perfect. I'm screwed up in different ways that I continue to unravel and work on and improve. But you're seeing an evolution where every week, every month, due to something either I find or somebody who's close to me, who loves me, shows me, they point something out, and I'm able to realistically look and understand where it's coming from, right? So an example was even last week. I consider myself caring and good at relationships, and I really do my best to do good by people.
It's noticeable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Last week I had a friend of mine who took me aside and just said, "Hey, what's going on in your life?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? My life. This is actually the best my life's been in a long time." He's like, "No, there's something going on, and I'm not the only one to notice this." And I'm like, "Okay, what do you mean?" He said, "There's have you ever noticed that you probably think things are funnier than that you do, or say you think things are funny that other people around you do?" I'm like, I don't know what you mean or where this is coming from. He says, "Look, I'm going to be blunt with you. You have a really sharp sense of humor, and it feels sometimes like a harpoon. And it's causing me to not want to be around you. And I've heard this from a lot of people who you know and you care about. They just don't feel comfortable.
What?
And I took a moment back and I went, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was completely blindsided by this, but in a great way. And it's given me this time to go back and look at it and go, oh, I see what's going on here. Like in my life, I have incredible relationships and everything else. But like all of us, there are walls at different points. And what I didn't realize was happening unconsciously was when people would get to a certain point, I would use humor. And sometimes like this, we pick on each other for fun and it's that loving, like pick on stuff, but sometimes a little bit harsher to push people away when they got just a little bit too close. And I'm so grateful that he opened my eyes to that, because now I've been able to have some conversations with a couple people and they've opened up because they just didn't feel comfortable in coming more directly before. And they said, yeah, I love you, Chris. I love you and I love what you're doing and I want you in my life. But sometimes it just feels like you're attacking me rather than just playing with me. And I'm like, oh, dude, thank you. That's awesome. Yeah. And I share that only to say that we are always continually unraveling stuff, right? I don't think this journey is ever over, but we require truth in ourselves to seek the truth and accept it, and truth from the people around us to show us the things that are in our blind spots that we would never be aware of otherwise.
Yeah, that feedback takes serious courage.
And exactly.
Oftentimes when you give feedback that's like, this is like to the core of this person, if they reject it in a hard way, that person gives less feedback later on, because it's risky, man. You're risking your relationship and all this stuff. It's funny, as you're saying this, I've had a few people say, I don't know when you're joking. And so now I'm sitting here going, I wonder if no one's just told me, like, dude, you're kind of a dick when I don't know if you're joking or not.
Well, you are a dick.
Okay, but I'm reflecting right now.
Man, I got to tell you, this is hitting me right now like a ton of bricks, just based on the week that I've had. Because I've had one of those moments where complete eye-opening aha experiences. So, first I want to thank you for your candor, because you're right. I mean, those sledgehammer moments are just like, holy shit. How else do you know? Because you think you're on one path. Those people that you love and trust are like, okay, let's just be real here. Your path is affecting me, and if we're going to do this together, I need you to be receptive with how I feel. And there's, in some of my past experiences, I found that sometimes those are the people that you are going to trust more later on in your life. And then you find out that there are some people that you don't need. You brought up toxic people in your life. You find out that there are some that you just need to cut paths with.
Totally, man.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. I completely agree with you, right? And it's I would rather be surrounded by people who love me so intensely that they will challenge me on things, even if it's at my core, than people who will try to make me feel comfortable, even if it's out of a place of care, right?
Yeah.
And there are times when we are deeply hurt and we just need to be comforted for a little bit. Yeah. Cool. Absolutely. Everybody needs that. But that's a point in time. That's not a continual thing, right? More often than not, we just need to be shown a mirror and go, dude, this is reality.
Yeah.
This is reality. And with if you care and you're a learner and you seek the truth, looking at reality, you go, damn.
And thank you.
And then you can figure out where to go. Yes, exactly. It's such incredible gratitude. And I think this is probably the most important gift that we can give to anybody who we truly care about, right? And maybe it's not right to give to everybody because not everybody's ready to receive it,
right?
Or we may not have that relationship with them. But if we truly care about somebody, having the courage to step up and go, look, this is going to be uncomfortable, and it may affect my relationship with you. But even knowing that, I need you to hear and see this because I care and love you so much, right? What a gift.
Oh my God, dude. I wonder if those moments have ever gone south in someone's relationships. Like, there's family there's quirks with family, and this is almost across the board, everyone. And I've thought about at times going, do I call out, this random family member for this thing that I think they should have feedback on, and then I oftentimes back out because I'm scared of what could come because it's like good enough. But I don't know if good enough is good enough. Like when we're talking through this, I wonder if that feedback would just open a whole new chapter in the family, in that relationship. Everyone in my family who's listening right now is like, is it me?
Let me just answer that. Yes.
Yeah, it's you.
It's all of you.
But yeah, it's scary.
in thinking about that, I guess it depends on the nature of the relationship, right? So, um, I have people in my life that I wouldn't challenge that way simply because um, I uh, I don't think our relationship is quite there, and so whether or not they would accept it, and it's not about the relationship with me, right? Because if I tell you a truth and you choose not to have a relationship with me, completely cool. That is your choice, and I accept it. But I want there to be a chance that you'll hear and listen to the truth. Whatever you do with it is your choice, but you'll listen to it enough so that it could have an effect on your life. And if a relationship's not strong enough to bear that initial, let's have this conversation, then maybe another path is better, or maybe somebody else is the right person to share that message.
Yeah.
Right? The person who shared this with me, we've had such incredible love and trust back and forth for a period of time that I inherently trust what he's sharing with me. He also then told me a couple of different times when people have tried to share the same thing in different words, and I didn't hear it.
Wow.
And because there was a different relationship, right?
Yeah.
So I look at it and go, am I the right person to share this message with them, or would they better receive it even from somebody else? And maybe you help to facilitate that conversation with the right person to share it. So it doesn't have to be about you. It's really about how can we best serve this person.
Yeah, that's solid advice. And too, like there's a bunch of people in my life where if they gave me feedback, I would take it as absolute exact, like, I got to fix this. And then there's some people where I'm like, well, I don't know exactly where we stand, so I don't know where it's coming from. But this is crazy.
Yeah, I'd like to comment here about that because that really hit home. I know a lot of people that are really all in. So they're intense in their friendships. They're intense with the family. They're intense in their relationships. And I like the fact that you're expressing that you have to find a balance with each individual that's important in your life. Because some that you can go 110% with, and there's some that might be overwhelmed if you go above 80.
Too heavy, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that you're willing to admit that there's a message for everyone, and there's an independent scale for each individual.
Dude, this is a touch of a tangent, but I was thinking about it this morning. Let me phrase it this way. So many times people, including myself, get caught up in this, like, I want to be strong, I want to be this, I want to be kind, I want to be powerful, and they want to focus on one way of being. And every day that goes by, I'm just starting to realize more and more, it's like, I want to be dynamic. So if I got to show up as this, I'll show up as this. If I got to show up as kind, comfort, I can show up as that. And knowing how to walk that line's a whole nother story. But, like, dynamic is where it's at. Because you can't just be, let's just say you chose, I want to be a really kind person. There's times in business when kindness does not work.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
And you could flip that situation a million ways. There's times in family where direct is not going to work.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, that's a total tangent, but being dynamic is like my new thing.
Well, Chris, if you... go ahead.
I love that. So what that brought to my mind is I think people often think that, I am one way and I have strong values and I am dynamic are different things. And my friend James Wallace put it best. He believes in having strong beliefs lightly held. Right. And what that means is that they're always open for change if new information comes in. But deeper what that means to me when you say about being dynamic, I think the more you truly know yourself and you can understand your core values and just say, these are the lines of my life I can never cross. Like, my integrity for me is one. I can never cross my integrity. I wouldn't be me.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that aren't that important either. Like, do I have this conversation with somebody straightforward, or do we have it, like over beers and joking? Like, what is the right way? And so instead of thinking about me in those moments, like, how am I supposed to be in this act? It's just shifted on its head and go, how do they need to receive it? Because it's all about them at that moment. It's all about them. And so as long as you're not crossing the threshold of your boundaries via your core values, then in service of somebody else, whatever way of getting that across is the right way.
Beautifully put. That was a great way to say that.
I'd like to flip it. What about the other side of that then? So you're talking a lot about knowing that balance of how to handle other people. What about the other side when you know you're being mistreated? How do you become self-aware to know when you can draw the line or you need to draw the line?
That's a forest, man.
Yeah, take the rabbit hole and run with it.
Yeah, moments in my life. I'm not going to run, but moments in my life when I think when mistreatment happens, you get lost in what the hell good treatment is. And I feel like I get lost in the trees sometimes in relationships. But Chris, if you have thoughts, go ahead and run. But yeah, that's a hard one.
Nice, dude.
Well, Shane brought up the term good enough.
Yeah.
And I think we're all it reminds me of being like you're copacetic. Like, I don't want good enough, man. I want hot fire. Like, I want lightning bolts, and I want those deep moments. I don't want good enough. That good enough sounds like settling, and settling sounds like I'm taking advantage of that little dash between my birth date and my end date.
There you go. Whoa.
Mm.
Yeah, meta.
Two different ideas come to mind as you say this, so I'm going to tackle each one separately.
Okay.
The first is that thing you said at the end, which is I want everything to be like lightning bolts and amazing. This is actually something I learned in acting, so a very different background and everything else, right? The pedigrees of a great performance, and great performance is something that emotionally moves people, right? Is that it is dynamic and has levels. And so when I think of a relationship, I don't think of it just being like this relationship is level 10 all the time, because quite honestly, if something is one level all the time, it gets boring. Think about driving a car. And, the first time that you hit 120 or 130 in a car, you're like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
If you were to drive 130 miles an hour for 10,000 miles, you'd be bored as shit, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the levels or the dynamicism of that are important. So I look at a relationship instead of one that can always be at level 10 or 11. I look at one that is comfortable in a range of levels, and we can play in that range and enjoy them. So from the chill out, relax on the couch, enjoy this, to playing balls to the wall out in the middle of Mongolia, right? And that range is more important to me than one particular level. But that's just my way of looking at it. There's no judgment in that.
It reminds me of like happiness. The only reason I know something's happy is because of all the sadness. It's just that contrast up and down and back and forth. And I used to seek happiness. That was like a true goal of mine. Like, I just want to be so happy. And then I started to be like, you know what? I don't want to be I want to be happy more than I'm sad. And then hopefully with the contrast, I can feel more. But anyway, tangent thought.
No, you're absolutely right. It's that contrast that gives things meaning, right? And so
how do you know when your contrast is right? I say right. How do you know? What if your contrast got dark, man? Like you say a relationship, and like I get lost in the trees sometimes. I'm like, is this healthy? Is this up and down? Is this good, bad? Is this reasonable? It's weird.
Well, I'm not. I don't even know.
You're using a good word there, though, and I think that word to key up on and pull out of that is healthy, right? Just because you have dynamics of up and down, and that's like scales of energy, that is different than unhealthy. That's not, abusive to an amazing relationship. If a relationship is abusive, it's abusive, no matter what. So I think you can stay on the side of healthy, right? That's a boundary. Stay on the side of healthy, but allow there to be levels and latitude within that relationship of healthy. What is healthy? Healthy could be chill. Healthy could be amazing and adventures. Healthy could be deep conversations. Healthy can be all of it.
Oh, yeah. I'm loving this. I didn't know this would go here. This is just cool.
Yeah.
We're discussing stuff I always think about.
I wish you could see our faces right now, because it's like Mason's over here totally humbled. And I'm
Thanks
just
for speaking for me.
Hey, you're welcome.
Appreciate that.
That's what I get for being the old guy of the crew, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, this is awesome. And we talked at the beginning. You weren't really sure what our context was and what the audience was really expecting as far as the delivery. You're nailing it, my friend. This is exactly like the reason why this was important to Shane. And I mean, I can't speak for him, but you were right to bring up at the beginning, like, we don't want to alienate anybody, because everyone has gone through this fluctuation of emotion. Everyone has a story. Everyone is deep and then light in the same context. So that's kind of why I wanted to flip that and find out your other side. I mean, I love the fact that you're willing to see those lines and those levels. But when do you raise the drawbridge? When do you say enough is enough? I love you.
Boundary clarification.
Yeah, perfect.
Maybe.
Good luck answering that one.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a beautiful point. And I'll tell you, it's something I've struggled with as well. So for just a little bit more background and context on this, if I look at my two core wounds, like the things that I have had to overcome, and in my harder moments kind of fall back into. It's not feeling like I'm enough, and feeling that as a result of that, you're going to abandon me and I'm going to be alone.
Oh,
right.
God. Yeah.
And it comes from things that have happened in my childhood and in my past. And so as a result, I, for a lot of my life, have often been a people pleaser. Right. And
Me
so,
too.
Right.
Yeah. Dude,
And I
I'm
think
still
there's
working
a lot
on
of people
that.
like us. Oh, yes. And I don't know that it's something you ever completely overcome. It's just something that you're aware of. Right. And so, because there's nothing wrong with wanting people to be happy, but it's number one, what is the intention behind it? Is it truly about them, or is it because I'm doing this for me? Am I doing this so that they'll like me? Like, so the intention is everything there. And then two is, am I doing it at the expense of me? Am I making you happy while detracting from myself? And if that's true, then it's unhealthy, right? And so I've gotten a pretty sensitive radar on these things as a result, because of going through this and having bad relationships and putting myself into bad places and allowing myself to be abused, but allowing myself, right? I take responsibility for it, and then being pissed and hating the situation or having difficulty with the person. So above all, I believe that we take responsibility for our life, 100%, the good and the bad that happens, because we allow these things in, or we allow them to happen. We can always, remove ourselves from a situation.
It's such a key.
But two,
sorry to cut you.
Oh, no. I'm was the one who rolled over you, man.
Don't forget number 2. I was just going to say that crucial first step is like personal responsibility. And it's funny you mentioned working on people pleasing. So here's where I'm at right now on people pleasing. And I'm just noticing this in myself. I laugh at stuff that I don't even think is funny out of habit, because I want to make that person feel good. And I'm like watching all these like conversations and atmospheres and work and play and friends. I like laugh to make people feel good when I'm not even there. And I'm like just looking at myself trying to go, is this real? Like, what are you doing, dude? And then my laughing is discounted if it really was funny, because I just laugh at everything. It's the weirdest habit I have, and it stems from people pleasing.
What have you laughed at me for that wasn't funny?
I don't know. Well, maybe that.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird, though?
Son of a bitch.
It's a fucking habit. I can't even control it. I'm working on it. But I want to be so genuine that if someone says something stupid, I'm just going to sit there and look at them. Maybe, but I don't want to hurt them. This is weird. I'm just telling you where I'm at.
No. I think this is awesome, man. This is really where this conversation went. I mean, we're like, in essence here, we're bearing souls. I like this.
This is good, Chris.
I agree with you, man. And so in that moment, looking at that, number one, awareness, right? You're aware of it. And these things will shift over time, but they have to have awareness. None of these things, they're like source code, right? You don't change the source code immediately at the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
There is some time and everything else, and awareness is the first step. Second thing, I believe is that laughing that you do has two effects. That as you just become aware and as it naturally evolves, you'll most likely see improve in your life. And the first is, like you said, the times when you really laugh will seem so much more genuine, and people will appreciate those moments more, because it's not everything, right? It's not watered down.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
The second thing is, I believe, probably not consciously, but every one of us subconsciously has this incredible sense of whether somebody is genuine or not, because it's had to be refined over eons in our evolution to know whether we can trust somebody, right?
Yeah.
Because often can we trust them? It's survivability. Are they going to kill me in the night? Are they going to steal my stuff? All this stuff, right?
Mason's got a shank. I just want you to know he's got a shank.
Just so you guys know, I want to clear the air. I would kill both of you.
Oh.
Nice, dude. Nice. Nailed it. I'm really glad I'm your first one.
Thank you.
Do you hear what I have to put up with?
I hate your honesty.
That was funny. Thank you.
A beautiful thing was, if he was saying the right thing and he was being honest, I would kill you. We would actually value that over somebody who would. Right?
That's true.
We would.
I got that going for me.
Because you can trust it.
So
right?
awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Mason.
And so, like, you laughing and stuff, like, disingenuously, number one is people subconsciously realize it. And two, because they subconsciously realize it, there's something they just can't quite pin. And they probably won't say, I don't trust him. Probably doesn't go that far, but there's a piece of them that's just a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And as a result, they probably don't get quite as close to you as they could.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God.
And
yeah.
you might perceive that in different ways. And there's a little bit of a defense mechanism in you as well when you do that, which is, I'm afraid that people see the real me who doesn't laugh and everything else, that it's not going to be enough. And so it's subtly keeping people at a distance. They're subtly going, I'm a little uncomfortable. I don't know why. And as that starts to shift, you'll probably see a deeper connection with the people who resonate with you. And that's awesome, dude.
I feel like I have ammunition to keep working.
This reminds me a lot of, I spent a lot of time studying sociology, and it reminds me of mirroring. And it's like a comforting technique. And you realize how much you start to, like Shane's saying about, he's laughing at all these things because he wants to make someone feel comfortable. And you're almost devaluing you as a person. And then you're devaluing them, and you're not allowing that flow to happen. Like, without getting philosophical here, it's like almost obtaining your third eye.
Well, meta. Mason hates it when I say meta. So, Chris, just so you know, I'm always saying young phrases because I want to be young. And man, I just slaughter them. So just some context.
Did you say lit fam? Is that what you just
lit
said?
fam meta,
Yeah.
Gucci, bro.
It's pretty Gucci, Mace. It's pretty Gucci.
Chris, to give you an idea, I was born in the 80s. Millennial Mason was born in the 90s. And Will was born in the 70s.
Why can't you just call me Mason?
Because Millennial Mason, dude, you're representing a generation right now.
Dude, just
You're representing a generation.
I got a quick statement.
Yeah.
Mason, I trust that you will shank me.
yeah, I would.
Okay, there you go.
If I was hungry, if I was starving, but if I was just like, I'm a little hungry, you'd be the first to go.
That is fucked up.
That's real laughter.
Yeah. No, don't laugh at that.
No, that was real, man.
That is kind
That
of
wasn't
fucked
a
up.
joke, so don't laugh.
Is it because I got a big ass? I mean, that hurts, right? You know my pain point.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Taking it to the ass.
Okay,
Whoa.
we have veered.
We have so veered.
Let's not.
Chris, as you can tell, we've got some rabbit holes that we tend to go down over here.
We got many generations and many rabbit holes. I don't want to leave we got time, I think. Chris, do you have time right now?
Yeah, I've got time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I can't leave the Chris Plough conversation without hitting like another one of these random highlights, like naked on stage. I was thinking about that today, and I don't know what exactly you did, but I was like, dude, if I had to go naked on stage, I'd be so incredibly uncomfortable, and I'd be like doing stretching exercises before going out just to make sure everything looked right.
You're under a heat lamp instead of in the freezer.
Oh, no shrinkage risk, dude.
I just want to know what hair and makeup was like.
Yeah. Look up. Don't look down.
Yeah.
Don't look down. I would have to say that would probably be the most watched TED Talk ever.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
More context. I have the really long legs and no upper body, so I look like an alien naked. So just more context.
Oh, shit.
Anyway,
not
just
lying.
throwing that out there, yeah.
Anyway, tell us the story.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
It's not good.
No problem. So yes, it can be awkward.
It can
So
be.
this is a different point in my life.
It is. Go ahead.
The one degree I hold, even through all this business and technology and everything else that I've done, the one degree I hold in my life is an acting degree, theater arts, acting and directing, right? And so we were doing this play at West Coast University called Hair, which is a musical from the 70s.
Yeah. Hey,
And,
my generation.
Oh,
Yeah, well, mine too. I was born in 77,
Oh,
so I'll
see?
represent.
Whoa,
Oh.
same year.
You
Same
fuckers over here on Island. 77. You got me by a year.
Yeah.
That's all right. I can still like you.
You old guys got to stick together.
That's rough. Now do you understand why we call
Exactly.
him Millennial
Two
Mason?
youngins down.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, will you get off Snapchat and get back on the podcast, please,
Snapchat
Mason?
and Instagram.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Have I said something interesting the last 10 minutes or seconds, and have I lost your attention? What exactly? is going on?
You haven't lost my attention because I'm so triggered from this conversation.
Yeah. He's
So triggered.
He's literally tweeting, "I am bored" right
Seriously.
now.
Hashtag triggered.
Yeah.
Keep running.
I'm sorry.
Where did we leave
Yeah,
that?
so you have you graduated for
Yeah.
Go.
Theater arts.
Yeah, theater
and
arts.
we did this play Hair, musical and everything else, and it's grungy and dancing and all this other stuff going on, and there's an opportunity in it, I say, to get naked. And I'm one that if given an opportunity, I'll drop trow fairly quickly, right?
You got a big old
we were-
hog.
No,
I'm just gonna
Irish.
say it.
I'm Irish.
If you take the
I'm
opportunity,
Irish.
if you take the opportunity to drop trout, you got a big hog.
Chris, I just want to tell you I'm Irish too, and suddenly my skin just crawled. Because no, I can't believe Mason's talking about your hog, and too. I'm
you go,
Irish
Hal.
too. I'm hung like a buck gerbil over here. It's not a
Okay.
This is great.
All right.
I hung like a light switch.
Yeah.
Hung like a field mouse.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
like a pissed off
Nice,
fire
dude.
ant.
Just get him out of your system.
yeah. Okay, on with the story.
Hey, Chris, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, no, doesn't matter the size. I'm still proud of it. Please.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
You're wait, grower, not a shower, or shower, one or the other.
Yeah, my reply is God gave me fingers in a tongue. What else can I do?
Oh God,
Shut it.
I would love to hear this story.
Yeah, keep going.
No, it's cool. So like we gone through, you rehearse like plays for like weeks upon weeks to get ready, right? And they had always held off on this naked part, and so I'm like, are we ever gonna do this? Finally, the director's like, okay, here's the thing. We get to this point, and we're all kind of dancing around this umbrella. The umbrella, like big umbrella parachute is what I mean, goes up, and then it comes down around us, and then we take off our clothes, and then we stand behind it, and as the parachute comes down, where they're naked, standing in front of the audience, right? There's no audience at this point, but I'm like, oh, we get to get naked. I'm kind of excited. So like we do our little dance, the parachute goes up, get up underneath the parachute, and I'm like, this is the time. I'm like taking clothes off. I'm probably hitting people in the face with my clothes because I'm kind of excited taking it all off. And I then look around, and I am literally the only person who's naked. And this troop of actors and everything else. And I'm like, I was probably a little too excited for
Check,
this.
please.
Exactly. So that was like the awkward moment that happened in rehearsal. And then we got to have that opportunity every night that we did the show. And the largest show I did was, 1,000 might be a bit of an exaggeration. So it's probably like 800 people or so. So somewhere between 800 and 1,000 people.
Oh my God.
And I'll tell you, like, it's freeing. It's freeing because I don't have the world's most amazing body. I am not a porn star or anything else. To just literally allow that parachute to come down. Lights are on you. You're in front of an audience, and you're not talking. You're not distracting. You're just facing the audience, and they're facing you.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you're showing everything, right? And lights are a little dim, so they can't make everything out, but most of the stuff is there.
Yeah.
They can see everything.
They have a pretty good
and
idea.
it is free
Yeah,
to
they're like,
go.
I think that's a dick.
This is
That's a
me,
dick.
right?
Oh
Yeah.
my God, dude.
That's crazy.
Did you trim the bushes to make the tree look taller?
Oh my God.
No, because we were
It's
doing
his
this
hair.
right. So
Yeah,
this is
is
hair from the 70s. So trying to do it
Oh
in
my
period
God.
means that I had like you're hiding everything. There's and then no matter how comfortable you get with this, you're always just a little bit apprehensive, and you get like a little bit of the like I'm pulling away from the little guy, right?
Like
Yeah, just
Vienna
a li-
sausage
just
stuff.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna protect myself.
All right, so $1 million question
Oh
here.
my God, dude, you're daring.
Did you get a date after this?
That is a great question.
I don't believe as a result of that.
Oh,
no.
okay.
Did I get a date out of the whole thing? Yeah. I mean, it's
There you go.
That's awesome.
Dude, way to
won.
go. Seriously. I think you're very, very, very rare with that one thing. I kind of want to do it now, but not really.
How can you be afraid of anything if you've done that?
Yeah, seriously. What's after
so
that?
here's the view though. Like so what this means to me is I look at it is what are the comfort zones that we have in life, because we all have them.
Yeah.
And we all have things that we fear. We all have things that are uncomfortable. Where are they, and where can we nudge them out, right? And I don't mean go after everyone, just because you have a fear of something doesn't mean you have to push up against it, make yourself uncomfortable on purpose. But is that fear, that uncomfortability, that comfort zone keeping you from doing something in your life you really care about, right? So
That's huge.
for me, I am hugely claustrophobic, and but at some point I would love to go like cave exploring, spelunking, right? And that frightens the hell out of me because especially when you see people crawling between like cracks in a rock, and you know that you're deeply underground,
Yeah.
and nobody's ever going to hear you scream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will push against that comfort zone when it comes time because that's something I want to experience. And so there's a reason or a purpose behind it. And I look at everything in life to go, what is the comfort zone that's holding me back today? And what can I do to lean against it? I don't have to push it. I don't have to put myself into some place where I feel like purely in fear and just not myself at all. But, how can I lean up against it enough to push it out a little bit and make my life a little bit more comfortable and make that possibility a little bit more possible?
Wow.
That's huge. That's huge.
I do that every day, man. Every day that I can, I lean up against it.
Wow.
I used to have an incredible fear of writing. Like I got invited to be a guest blogger on this blog. I won't name it right now, but it was a small one, not super well read. And it used to literally take me 6 or 7 hours to write a few hundred words, maybe 200 or 300 words, because my heartbeat would be like 120 the whole time.
Wow.
And like just little things like that, just anxieties like that, right? And now it's nothing. Now I can do it because I've leaned into it. I've cared for myself. I've allowed it to happen. And now it's easy as anything. And we all have those little things in life. So, I mean, I'll turn the question back to you guys. Like, what's a comfort zone that you have right now that you feel you can lean into to give you something you want in life? What would that be?
Oh, I know exactly mine. And I'll just I'll just tell it. It's awkward as hell. I'll just tell it. So, I'm Chris. I am learning how to break dance. And it's
awesome.
That alone is awkward. First off.
Yeah.
So every morning at 6 a.m. I'm downstairs like spinning on my back in my head and trying to get flexible. I can't even touch my toes. You would think that's my comfort zone thing. That's not. So my back is so unflexible that I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? So the other day, Lawrence, Australia? Lawrence, what's Lawrence Tham?
Yeah.
He's a chiropractor, and I just full on the other day I was like, I am limited because I'm nervous to I'm embarrassed of like my flexibility and my back. It has this weird curve, and so I was like, screw it, and I just emailed Lawrence. I'm like, dude, what do you think about this? And then I turned my video on in my bathroom, and I'm like, dude, this is me. This is my back. I'm like ridiculously unflexible. Don't mind the awkward video, but the only reason I did it is because it's like it's limiting me. I want to be able to break dance, and my flexibility is a problem. Mason's laughing his ass off right now. But anyway, I am pushing against my stuff that feels so uncomfortable. I'm embarrassed of that.
I wasn't laughing. I was just laughing at you in your mirror. Yeah. You in your bathroom, taking the video at the mirror. Just,
oh my God.
Here's my back.
Imagine sending this to someone like a friend that you respect. You're like, hey, look at this weird video.
That makes my hands sweaty.
It was so uncomfortable. Oh my God. So hopefully he has some advice. And now the whole world knows.
That's pretty cool of you to do that, though.
I want to be more flexible. I want to learn how to do this, man.
But do you want to know how to break dance, or do you just want to be healthier and more limber?
Oh, dude, so this is crazy. So when we say break dance, it's not like I'm going to get up and do the robot. It's like power moves where you're spinning on your head and your back and on yada, yada.
Yeah.
I want to learn that because I think it's so cool. And even since I've tried it for the first day, it requires so much energy, muscle, flexibility, balance. So I play softball too. And since breakdancing, I don't get sore and I don't have any stretching issues with softball. So it's like upping my game across health in general.
I can't laugh at you anymore.
It's still funny, but like
I'm still gonna laugh at you.
Oh, I would if I was you guys.
Dude,
I would
at least you laid down cardboard in the studio, and I turtled with you.
Yeah, man. William did. He did a backspin, dude.
Something you should never.
Wow,
say.
You dropped full name there.
Yeah,
I got full first name on that one.
William
you did. Big Willie.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Oh yeah, you guys got to answer.
Sure,
Comfort zone.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. After the week you had, I feel like you should.
Man, I kind of have to subject this, Chris, a little bit. It's a little hard for me. I went through one of the most challenging experiences of my life. I went down to Texas. Shane gave me an opportunity to go to Discover Leadership. And I don't want to go too into full detail down there, but the program is engineered and geared to find your strengths and then find your weaknesses. And what I learned was that all the good opportunities are found on the other side of fear. That all those balances and all those heartfelt moments and things are truly found on the other side of fear. So I had a lot of personal breakthroughs, and when I came back, I was really excited to see these guys, and you could just see on my eyes that I accepted the challenge and I went all in. And what I realized, honestly, like if we were just being candid here, there are two things that have really stuck with me. One, I've never forgiven my parents. So I had a little rocky upbringing for a long time, and that's not their fault. What I never realized is I never understood that they went through pain like every other human being. So I've carried this certain weight on my back, not saying that things were my fault. I just had a bit of a chip on my shoulder when I looked at life. And so coming back, I realized that like there are things that I can be thankful for, and there are things that I just don't have to hold on to anymore, because to err is to human. And so that was a big fear breakthrough for me. The other thing that's really that I'm being more accountable for is I've been writing a book for the past 25 years.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned this.
Yeah, and Shane was waiting for. He's just feasting.
Dude, I've been. Keep going.
So when I was, I mean, without going into too much.
Can I take a book
Yeah,
shot?
yeah,
Okay,
go
so me and William started working together, I don't know, 9 months, 10 months.
10 months ago.
And he's like, I have this book. It's like a 25-year book, like forever. I have 2 boxes of these stories. This is the story. And it was a good idea, and he has all this stuff written. And then I'm like, well, fucking write. And that seemed easy. And I was like, start with a sentence.
Yeah.
And the sentence was kind of tricky. Start with a paragraph. Paragraph was tricky. And then I was like, I realized this is way more than a book. This is like you putting yourself out there. And then I was prying paragraphs out and prying and twisting. But now since Discover, I'm absolutely confident you're just going to write the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But I think this is just my read on it. It was scary for more reasons than just writing. It was like, this is you to the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chris here, I'll just give it to explain context here. When I was raised by my grandparents. I didn't really know my mom well. She did some things that just prevented her from being in my life. And because of that, my dad wasn't around so much until he got remarried. So growing up in a military household from my grandparents, I realized I was really comfortable in my own shoes. So when I was 15, I started carrying around a notebook, and I would approach anyone that I saw that was interesting, like whoever struck my eye. And I would interrupt them, whatever they were doing. I didn't care if they were in a heated conversation, if they were walking down the road, if they were in a restaurant, a gas station, you name it. And I would literally ask them what was on their mind. And after a few brief moments of them being uncomfortable, I think they saw in my eyes that I was being genuine. So I have thousands and thousands of these real life quotes, and I turned it into a book called Filler. And it's about a bartender who's decided to live vicariously through other people to the point of true empathy and true understanding and trying to really get why people do those things. So I've taken all these people, and they're all patrons in the bar, and it's really a fun story because you've got, this fictional and non-fictional all tied into one. And so that's what I've been doing for so long, and it's been what I realized last weekend is it's really been a scapegoat for me because I've been looking at everyone else's filler in my life. I realized that I'm the filler. So I realized by not establishing this book and using it as an excuse, I wasn't writing my own story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
really, what it looked like before this weekend is like your whole life you're potentially a great author, but if you write this book and you fail, you're potentially a bad author.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
See, now that's the change. That's the shift. Is like you'll just write it. Oh, plus Chris,
I really hope you don't finish.
Yeah, Chris, if he doesn't write it by the end of the year, we get to shave his eyebrows. So that's a whole nother thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really writing
me.
against.
Write it January 1st. Or finish.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So it's got to be done by December 31st.
No, by January 1st.
And these two want to shave my eyebrows.
Hell yeah, I want to shave your eyebrows.
But it was really fun for me how much I realized that I had convinced myself. So earlier, just to backtrack for a moment, you talked a lot about faces. Not faces, I brought that up. But you talked a lot about being genuine and drawing those lines and knowing where you stand, and then realizing that some people don't need your all in. Some people just need a hug. Some people need a handshake. I was living literally through other people because I genuinely loved them. What I wasn't doing was genuinely loving myself. And I didn't realize that I had to be okay to make sure everybody else was okay. It was like the final cog in the machine.
Transformational.
So the thing that I find super interesting there is twofold. I'll share something about my life in a second, but what you've kind of uncovered there is it's less about the actions of what we do, and it's so much more about what it means to us or the intentions, right? Because you can have empathy and want to know everybody's story and be compassionate and everything else altruistically, simply because you've already taken care of yourself and you're full, and now you have room to spare for others. Or you can do the same thing sacrificing yourself. Outwardly, it looks very much the same, but it feels different. So we talk about like frequencies or resonance or just people subconsciously getting things. They feel very different, right? And one is sustainable, one's not. If you don't take care of yourself, eventually things are gonna, the end bottom is gonna drop off.
Catches up to you.
To hear you having this project which sounds beautiful.
Thanks,
and
man. Thank you.
to do it from a place where you care for yourself first, dude, that's phenomenal. That is truly, truly cool.
I think you'll get it.
Yeah, it really is.
Something that is shifting with me, for example, that kind of like fits in. So they're even outside of this podcast, or maybe an interesting conversation for you and I to have. My adventures are shifting away from like the wild motorcycle to Siberia stuff. And there's a couple more I want to do in that vein.
Yeah.
But what they're shifting toward is stepping into people's lives for a period of time and understanding it, and then sharing the lessons learned. So like I had the opportunity to go down to the BVIs and be part of a project. And it was the first time that I got to step back into being a welder and an artist. And it's been a while since I've done those things in my life. But I did it like all out for 3 weeks. And it felt like stepping into somebody else's shoes because I just haven't done that myself in a while. And it kind of reinvigorated this love of what are other people's lives like from a point of true understanding and compassion. Like, so what would it be like to be homeless and live homeless for 2 or 3 weeks? What would it be like to be a billionaire for 2 or 3 weeks? What would it be like to be, I don't know, a drug dealer or, you don't have to fully do these things, but, to at least be immersed enough to understand, like, what are prostitutes' life like? And to understand these things deeply without judgment. And not only just share the story of this is what it was like, but to share like lessons and stuff that come up from it. And so I think most of my adventures going forward are going to be in this experiential jumping into people's shoes type thing, which is really so similar to where you went with the book, right?
Yeah.
Dude, Chris, so I don't know where this episode will air, but we had a prostitute on, and the main focus was, what the hell is your life like, why, and what are the lessons? And it's funny you mentioned that, because this is kind of the goal of the podcast. And we have a homeless person's on our radar, a porn star's on our radar.
Yeah.
But
we'll get a drug dealer in here.
Yeah, as long as we don't get shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no, I feel like the
I'm
reality.
okay with you getting shot.
Thank you.
Mason's got a shank. He got your back.
I got you.
The reality is, like, even these crazy types of people, we say crazy, but even these types of people, it's so normal when you hear what they went through, how they got there, and what they learned. I just feel like understanding is compassion, and that's uniting, and it's great.
I want to follow up on that just a hair. The baseline there is everybody's a human.
Oh, dude, I feel like if I was, this is just my personal feeling about myself, if I was born into the right situation, I could be a drug dealer, a prostitute, I could be I could be a porn star. If it would have played out right, I could be anything and it would be totally normal. I just happened to get lucky and things went this way. I mean, I have free will, I make my own decisions, but I'm just saying they didn't get there because they're stupid. They got there because life kind of took them there.
Porn star might be a stretch with the weird alien body.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Maybe there's like a fetish for aliens.
There's someone out there.
Alien fetish.
Mm-hmm.
Chris,
there's somebody out there.
We did interview the world's leading
alien researcher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
This is cool. You're going to dig this podcast, man.
Mostly just because he was interested in Shane's body, but that's not.
Tom, if you're listening, that's not. Well, maybe it was. I don't know. Who am I to judge?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
This is great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you guys don't mind, I'm going to jump on a soapbox for just a second. And the reason I think this is important, the reason I'm just going to nail this down is this compassion, this empathy, this understanding people's lives. I believe is so important is I truly believe we're at this point where technology and empathy is leading us to a transition point. And we as a world, as humanity, have an option, this window to level up, to go to the next level, or to fail spectacularly, right? Because points of transition can go either way. They tend to be volatile. And I believe that the step forward for us involves deeper connection, deeper communication, deeper understanding, and allowing both respecting like the cultural barriers that are out there, but allowing the political, the cultural, the geographic barriers to just subdue a bit and allow humanity to rise up a bit and allow us to connect at that higher level. And so the more that we can do this, the more we can share the realities of what we go through, to realize that we are so much more the same than we are different, and to help each other up in those ways. That combined with technology that's going to facilitate it all, that's the journey, man. That right there is the mission, and to be a heavy hand on the scale of good to make sure it goes the right way. Wow. That's what I'm in for.
Beautiful.
So everything that you guys have just said about, having these people on to share their particular stories and understand them, going deep in the book and everything else, man, I am a fan. Those are missions I believe in, and I'm glad that you're doing them.
Man, that's huge.
Yeah, I never had this podcast in a context of like leading the frontier of being vulnerable and open and real.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool.
I'm just picturing people driving in their car having one of those like, oh my God, aha moments. I mean, you just nailed it, Chris. You just absolutely nailed it.
Oh, dude, understanding and having empathy for people is like crucial, and I feel like so many people. Well, yeah, I'll just call them out. A lot of times religions get people caught up in judgment, and I hate that. Not all religions. And I'm just saying, like, I feel like we are all so much like each other, and the more we focus on that, the farther forward we're gonna go. We're all the same.
100%.
We're these
100%.
We're these little bags of stardust trying to figure it out, and you get judgmental as as a religious person. I hate to rag on religion. It's done a lot of good for a lot of people. I'm just saying there's certain religious people that are super judgmental.
Yeah, I don't think you're ragging, man. I think what you're talking about is you've got a basis, like if we just took religion and then we separated it from the people.
Yeah.
The religion itself, and any religion, man, if we went from a Catholic faith to a Protestant faith to, we're here in Salt Lake City, an LDS faith. On the other side, we're talking Hindu, Muslim, Buddhism, and I'm not saying they're on the other side, but if we took them all as a group, the intentions there, they're
good.
whole, they're good.
Yeah.
It's the ideologies of the people when they run with it, and then their expression towards others, and that's where I think that's where you're going.
For
of
sure.
Like it's more of like, okay, I'm living a holy life and you are not, so you should follow my way, instead of we're all brothers and sisters. So This is my choice. Let me help you with your journey.
I won't call them religious. Let's just call them out the judgmental.
Yeah, perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah, whether it's politics or it's online ranting or it's religion, anybody who's judgmental who wants to pull other people down will find a reason for that. Religion just happens to be one that is very powerful, right?
Yeah.
And so, I'm against that. I'm against pulling each other down. I do believe you can have these difficult conversations. So like the one my friend had with me was a difficult conversation, was not a happy conversation.
Yeah.
But it was one that was in my ultimate good and to help propel me forward, even though it was painful. So I don't necessarily look at conversations or how we help people as to, nice and fluffy or comfortable or painful or anything else. It's like, is this in their best interest? Are you challenging them in the right way? And religions can provide that context, or they can provide an excuse to separate us from others. And the truth is, we are no different than anybody else out there. If we were to find, there's 4 of us, right? 4 of us.
Yeah.
Yep.
We were to find 4 people somewhere in Russia who are, of similar levels in society. They probably have very similar conversations, very similar concerns, very similar fears. And that's the reality of this world, but we don't see it. We see it as us and them because we're human, right? And that's how we've evolved. But we can, I truly believe we can evolve past as well.
Beautiful. I agree. Hey, I just want to throw it out to you guys. If I give you permission to call me out if I have weird stuff, and I'll be as receptive as I can possibly be, and I will not fight it. So just permission.
I think we've done that a little bit. Like Chris just giving you a little context. Shane and I are pretty much like attached to the hip Monday through Friday.
Yeah. Like we're in the same office, dude.
Yeah, we literally share the same room. So there's a lot of like, at first it was like, okay, we literally have to instantly dive deep and okay, we've got to figure out what works for each other. But I witnessed him have a lot of breakthroughs in his own life, and he's witnessed me have quite a few.
Oh yeah.
So we've gotten over that. Okay, let's just be real here. You know what I mean? Like, thick skin is one thing, but understanding is another.
Yeah, dude, since you've gotten back from Discover, too, it's noticeable.
I had a wake-up, man.
You just roll, man.
Yeah, I had a real wake-up.
Yeah, it's been awesome watching you.
So if we can, why we're kind of on the same subject, Chris, there was something that really stuck out as I'm kind of going through your bio. I'm going through, really, what struck me the most, adverse of, like, everything that you've done, your adventure-wise, you had something that seemed important, or at least this is the way I took it. You had a system to help people get shit done. The silence.
I know.
No, I do. I wasn't sure if that was the end of it. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. But I would like to know, man, can you, I know there's going to be someone out there listening that is just feasting on this. Like, how do you get shit done?
Go ahead.
Twofold. So I believe that it's always important to have something that we can do now, because that's an action we can take to create space and bandwidth. And then I think that there's a bigger thing. So the smaller version is, this is a really simple concept that I use all the time. When I try to figure out why am I not doing the things in life that I believe I want to, right? Or I start to feel fear about something in it, and just I tend to procrastinate or whatever else is going on.
Yeah.
I look at it and I objectively look and I try to differentiate between fear and anxiety, or fear and tension, right? And for me, these are very different things. Perspective in life has also allowed me to separate them out. Fear is something that is to be respected, understood, most likely something to be avoided. That's in the back, the hairs in the back of your neck go up.
Yeah.
Something is seriously wrong. And either you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to be completely overloaded and you're just going to fail, or your life could truly be in danger, right? And
Fight or
so
flight.
I look at and go, exactly, fight or flight. You hit that point where that's it. And so I look at, if this is something I truly fear, maybe I'm not ready for it, or maybe I've just put myself in a really poor position, right? This happened to me physically in Russia, but it's also just happened to me in situations like getting on stage and speaking and stuff. I just wasn't ready. So if it's fear, good, put it aside and slowly work for it. But if it's anxiety, and anxiety is just that tension that we feel inside, where we're going to put ourselves out there and show ourselves in a way, and we're just afraid of what people are going to think, right? More often than not, that tends to be the root of it. If it's anxiety, I have to lean into it, because fear is respected. Anxiety can be leaned against and pushed through.
Oh, that's huge.
And just that simple concept leads towards so much action, because you then truly understand why you're preventing yourself from doing something, right? So use the book as an example, right? Was that book and the fear of putting it out before, was it true fear? Was it anxiety, right? And if you can categorize, we're human, we're weird this way. If we can truly categorize something and understand it, it makes it so much easier to accomplish and do it.
What a great way to put it.
Total anxiety.
So that's the thing that you can use today, and I use all the time. The larger scope is I don't know why. One of my gifts in this world is that I have the ability to see from the 100,000 foot idea level all the way down to the boots on the ground execution level. And I can pull them together. So when I think of actually getting things done, I go through a process, and in the shortest possible way, because it's a fairly detailed process, the shortest possible way, it's taking a look at the idea, understanding the drivers in it. Like, why do I really want to do this? What am I going toward? What are the rewards that I want for doing this? What am I trying to avoid by doing it as well? What fears do I have that are propelling me forward? And then, for the world, what are the positive drivers for the world if I do and accomplish this, right? So you understand the bigger motivators for the idea and how it can fit.
Okay.
Then I take that idea and I look at the strategy. And the strategy is then what allies do I have? What resources do I have? What are the ways to go about accomplishing this with a lot of leverage? So I'm not just trying to brute force my way through, right? And so you understand your strategy and everything you bring to bear. Also, it tends to show everything that you're missing as well, that you can then either learn, or you can buy, or you can find allies who have that, that resource or that skill that you're missing to be able to shore it up. And then you take that strategy and then you just put it over into an execution plan, which is basically, here is step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be able to accomplish. And the way that I do an execution plan is not only step by step, so it's really easy just to pick off and do, instead of having to worry and think about things. I literally just pick stuff off and do it. But at key milestones, and I do this usually on Post-it notes on a wall, right? But at key milestones, I'll take the Post-it note, turn it around, and I'll write a reward on the back, right? So that milestone could be a financial reward, hitting a certain monthly recurring revenue. It could be, giving your first paid speech, whatever it is that is truly, in your heart, like that is a beautiful milestone you want to celebrate. I write a reward on the back, right? And it could be something you do for yourself, an experience, something you buy for yourself, but some way to recognize that moment. Because I found as I've gotten older that I am propelled more by the carrot than I am by the stick. That the carrot is sustainable, and the stick, I used to beat myself all the time with the stick,
Yeah.
and all it does is tear me down, right? And so that I go through that process for all the meaningful things in my life. I do it about once a quarter and look at it, and then once a year go deep. And every time I accomplish something on the execution list, I take that Post-it note and I take it from one wall and I put it onto my accomplishment wall. Right now, I have a wall of trophies over here I get to look at and realize everything that I've done. But there's also the realism of looking at the wall of stuff I have yet to do or anything that I've been avoiding. So I see the world as it exists, but I also realize all my accomplishments. And for me, it makes executing and creating and accomplishing easy. Because you're doing all the work up front and then you literally just have to sit down and do it. And I find it very rewarding because I can go and flow so much more often.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel compelled to say this. So Chris works with people one-on-one, kind of helping them out through their stuff. And as much as we try and say, credibility indicators don't matter. I was at an event last year, Mastermind Talks, and on my Facebook feed popped up and it looked like one of Chris's clients. Chris, you can just say whatever this was, but flew you in on a private jet. That just doesn't happen all the time to normal people. So whether or not you would ever say it, you're winning, and you're winning with people who are seriously winning. And I know it's not about money and the private jet, but I'm just saying you're playing on a big level, man. And I want to throw it out because I think a lot of listeners would just find that totally credible.
Yeah.
I don't want to cheapen what you're doing by saying a plane matters.
Thank you. I'm compelled to make one correction to that, right? And again, in honesty and everything else, that private jet and everything else was not related to somebody I was helping out. It was a friend, and they happened to know a bigwig in Hollywood, and he flew us out to do a track day racing around in BMWs on a professional track right before Mastermind Talks.
Yeah, I did.
So just because, for full disclosure, right? I do some one-on-one work with people. I'm doing an adventure retreat later this year, and then Exponential University is, I believe, the legacy that I get to create with James Wallace and James Ton to truly affect the world. I am proud of these things, and I'm glad that my life gets to be about this, creating things that affect people's lives and help us all forward. I'm truly grateful.
Wow.
Yeah, it's big level stuff, man.
Pretty badass.
I got a question for you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just call you Mufasa from here on out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lion King Mufasa?
Yeah, like total Lion King. Yeah, I had this image of you above like the Sahara. Anyway, not to make light of it, that's just what you said to me personally was just hugely impactful. That's just awesome.
and all of this stuff, right?
Nice,
so the
dude.
stuff that you reflect back to me, the stuff that I share, this is stuff we figure out along the way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and this is, I think, what keeps us all, at least I know me, most likely you guys, a little bit humble. We didn't invent this shit, right? Like I didn't figure this stuff out. Like if you go back to like philosophy from like the ancient Greeks and stuff like that, like they were learning and figuring out this stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're rediscovering it, reintegrating it, and figuring out how it fits into our lives today. And so it's easy to say, yeah, these tools help, or these ideas or philosophies help because they have for thousands of years. And it's not me making them up. It's in the application. You see somebody and you go, man, I think that would be helpful for their life. And you're like, I want to help them. Here, look at this. This may help you. That's what we get to do, right? And we can do that, every single one of us, whether it's our job or not. It's just a part of being a beautiful human being.
It's amazing. I mean, it's the fact that you're willing to run with that accountability, and that's really the sense that I'm getting. And it seems to be, even to me, a bit more than even personal responsibility. Like you're accountable for you, and that's just. I have a feeling that a lot of our listeners right now are just. I think you're inspiring a lot of those now. Okay, wait a minute. There's just no more sitting on the thumbtack. We don't need the pain. Like it's time to run. It's really time to run.
If you get to that point, right? So, I mean, I have sat on thumbtacks for years, right? And We all do.
Yeah.
And if you are questioning, is it my time to go or not? You're probably going to sit on the thumbtack for longer, and that's cool. Like I will not degrade you. I will not judge you. I understand where it is. But with full respect, I also won't work with you, right? Because I know how difficult it is from being there in my life to get that momentum to go forward. But when you hit that moment, where you're at this fucking thumbtack,
Yeah.
I know I'm going to do something today. And you get to that point, and then you're like, I don't know what to do, right? That's the point where each of us, every single person on this call, right, we can all sit down with somebody and give them responsible, beautiful advice and strategy to take them forward and know that they're going to run with it. And that's the point. I love to catch people in their lives and help them because they're going to take action. They're going to do it and they're ready to accept it.
So just to clarify here, as an individual, you need to be willing. No one's going to move your feet for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I won't even try, right? And I won't try because, and I like Philip McKernan used to say this actually, and I love Philip.
Me too.
He used to say this, and I was going like, that sounds a little arrogant, dude. And then I looked back at my own life and went, man, I remember when I drug my feet for 2 years there. Like, what would have actually gotten me to move? And then I'm just being honest. No person ever could have convinced me to move otherwise. It was hitting a point in my life where I chose to make that difference. Some massive thing happened, like losing my parents, unfortunately, like which just forced action, things like that. But then if you catch somebody at the right point, it's like surfing. And I'll use this example from Jim Shields because he uses it now and then. I love it. It's like when you catch the wave, you catch the person who is that wave, then you both propel forward at an amazing rate. But if you miss the wave, you're just out there splashing in the ocean, right?
Preach.
So
I wanted this too many more times. But just it's obvious if you're listening to this, it's like Chris is like really cool guy, really well thought out, really experienced. He's not making any of this stuff up. But if you ever had the experience to just talk to Chris one-on-one about your life, it's like, what the fuck? Like a gift to see a little deeper. Like Chris, I don't know how many times I've pulled you aside. I owe you, by the way. But you cut deep and quick, man. And if whether or not you acknowledge that gift, you are good. And there's a reason you're doing what you're doing, man.
Would you mind if we? There's another...
I received right before that. I received that, man, and I appreciate it. Right. I know that you're saying that out of complete truth and care. So thank you.
Yeah. I want to like grab you and give you to the listeners one-on-one to everyone because like you got to meet this guy. Hey, Chris, I'm gonna pull something out that I didn't tell anyone about. And we'll see where it goes. You were at, I don't know what you were doing, but it looked fun. I saw you pop up through my Facebook feed, and you said to the effect of, "I'm now open to love," and I was like, "Whoa, what does that mean?" Do you happen to know what post I'm talking about or what thing I'm talking about? It was on Facebook, and you were just like, "Hey, I had this transformational experience. I'm now open to love or to being loved or something."
Yeah. The funny thing is I actually don't remember that post or that particular, but I remember the movement on it. Right. And so I can tell you where I was coming from and everything else, but I actually don't remember that post of all things. That's funny.
No problem. Okay. Maybe it hit me harder than the reality of what it was, but I'm glad you're being honest.
No, but it was huge for me. Again, this goes back to, who was it? Was Will? You said you had a military family background upbringing?
Yeah, my grandfather was they raised me. He was in the military, and then a whole bunch of lineage all the way down.
Yeah, similarly, I was an Army brat, right? And my stepfather, as well as my grandfather, military, and everything else, we moved around a lot. And what that created for me was I became really good at getting to know people. And open up and kind of create this familiarity, but yet at the same time had this incredible wall once you got, past the skin, because I knew that in a year, maybe 2 years, I was going to be moving, right? And so you can only let people get so close when that's the lifestyle that you live in. And it created this openness, but then also this closeness at the same time. And it just depended on how you knew me. If you knew me lightly and friendly, I was very open. But once you tried to get to know me intimately as a friend or as a relationship, I would close you down. And so, the shift for me in that was truly getting to a point where I could let people in, and I could let and allow their love in and feel it, versus blocking it away. Because when you put up those walls, the problem with those walls is they don't just protect you from the people hurting you. They protect you from the people loving you, like all emotions.
Yeah.
Like they deflect everything completely. And I had to get to a point of being comfortable with myself enough to being willing to pull down those walls, allow you to see the real me, and then allow your love in if you felt that way, or face whatever else other emotions you threw my way if you didn't agree, and being okay with it.
Beautiful.
That's with you saying that, there's something that you've done that really hit home to me. I turned 40 this year, and the fact that you celebrated your 40th birthday by giving to others, I would be doing you a disservice if we didn't talk about this. Will you explain to our audience what you did for schools?
Yeah, I'm honored to, man.
I mean, I can hear you smile right now.
Oh my God, I just thought of another one. After this, go ahead.
Okay, cool.
You should see Shane smile right now. You literally just did that to him.
And he has a beautiful smile too, doesn't he? I love his smile.
No. You should see the face that Mason just made. I don't know.
I'm blushing in a weird way.
Solid 6.
Solid 6.
Out of 6, bro.
Yeah. Oof, that's huge.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's what it started with. It just real quick context was I did this thing last year that a friend of mine called plowshares, and I just now call it like plowsharing.
Plowshare. That's what I wanted to talk
I started
about.
giving away stuff that I didn't need.
He gave away
and
badass stuff, dude. Like laptops, computers, tablets, like free. Who wants it and why? And he was just doling this stuff out, and I'm like, oh my God, who is this guy?
Wow.
Yeah, on a regular basis, and nice stuff. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it's and again, I don't mind sharing this because it gives context, but the amount truly doesn't matter. Like I gave away like $70,000 worth of stuff.
Yes, it was shocking. Like what the wow. Anyway, it was
and
so
that
awesome.
paid for shipping and everything else. But I learned two things during it. One was I had such a bad relationship with money before then, and I was in such fear. Even though I've done really well in my life, I've saved a lot of money, there was still this fear I had around money. I was able to give away freely of things I didn't need because I'd been hoarding them, and realized it had zero impact on my life negatively. And all it did was bring positivity, right? And goodwill and feeling good and helping others. And second was I was only giving the stuff to people who actually wanted it. So rather than just saying, I'm going to send you a camera and I'm going to send you this.
You get a car. I would say, you get a
I've
car.
Got this. Yeah. I would go like, who wants this and why do you want it? You have to tell me why you want it and what you're going to do with it. And so number one is I got a story. I got to understand something, and I learned things about my friends I never knew. I learned I have a friend who was deeply into photography I never knew. Wow. And when I gave it to them, they truly wanted and appreciated it, and so they used it, right?
Man, that's beautiful.
Versus that thing where you receive it and you're like, oh, that's nice, cool, and you put it on your shelf.
Yeah.
Like, who wants that?
Yeah.
And so this became a philosophy for me, and then it started evolving last year into just, instead of giving things, when I still give things away, but now it's like just my point of giving, of helping and everything else, I just call it plowshare. And so my 40th birthday, I'm like, fuck, I want to do something for my 40th birthday, but I don't really feel like going out and doing something extravagant or anything else. It just didn't feel right. And then I remembered something Tim Ferriss had done for one of his birthdays. I don't remember which birthday it was, but he got Donors Choose involved. And I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. And so I just set this up and I created this funny little video, like at 3 a.m. in my morning, and I'm in like a onesie and everything else. And I created this funny little video, like sharing it with people. And I asked him to donate. So instead of giving me a present for my birthday, if you care about me, if I've done something good for you, donate to Donors Choose under our project, and let's do it. And the thing was I didn't know what this would get. So my expectations were, maybe I get like $1,000 or so as this went on. And then like within a couple of days, $1,000 was like blown through. And I'm like, holy shit. Well, okay. Maybe like $2,500 would be amazing. That'd be awesome. And then we blew through that. And then it got to like a few days near the end, and I'm like, oh, dude, we could make like $4,000 or $5,000 on this, dude. Sweet, I am in. Like people coming out of the woodwork to help out, and literally within like the past day, I realized a lot of people waited to my birthday to do it.
Yeah.
Like it jumped up to $9,000, almost like $10,000.
Wow.
And I was blown away because like what this meant to me, like these are people stepping up for me because I know that they're giving because they care about the charity. But the overall thing is they're also giving because of the relationship and their care for me. And that realization was incredible. Like I wept because of just realizing the sentiment and emotion that people had and the level of care that they had, and knowing that had been transformed into donations that affected, what was it, like 7,000 students or something like that. I don't remember the exact number now. Like 7,000 students got affected as a result of this. Like we transformed this care people had for me, which is all I needed or wanted, into something that shaped the lives of 7,000 fucking students. God, it was awesome.
It was beautiful.
That's so
and
powerful.
Yes, like anyone could have thrown money at any charity at any time, and it was you, man. My feeling personally was just like, oh, I love this guy. Hell yeah, here's my money, man. And then it was like, bonus, it goes to people who really need it. And crazy that you were giving away $70,000 worth of gear. This speaks to who you are, man. Soak it up. You are a good dude.
Damn.
Soak it on up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little taken aback right now because I was thinking for my 40th, I was just going to get hammered at Buffalo Wild Wings and have people buy me shit.
I know, I'm starting to reevaluate.
Yeah,
I'm like,
oh, man. Maybe. Okay, so there's one more thing.
There's no judgment in this. You know this. And I'm just going to like break in right before you get one more thing. Like there's no judgment in this, right? No expectation. Like here's the way I believe it. And Jesse Elder taught me this, and I love it. And he believes it, calls it like the lighthouse approach, which is, look, man, we do what we want to do and we shine fucking brightly doing it. Other people will see that, and some of them will be affected and will want to do something. Others won't because it's not right for them. Completely cool either way, right? Yeah. But it's in that shining, in that showing what's possible and what we can do, that we have this incredible ripple effect to affect tens or hundreds or thousands or millions of people's lives.
Wow.
And so that's what I accept as both a responsibility and as a reward, and love both ends of it. But doing that, I will never, man, if you truly want to like get drunk and enjoy Buffalo Wild Wings and have a hell of a time and then go to a strip club or do anything, hell yeah, do it. Make yourself happy.
So you're gonna come over and get me some wings, right? I mean, we've got this covered now.
That's awesome.
So there's something else that you did that really struck with me because I'm about to launch my own art company. So there's something that you did that really, really stuck out. So we've really established like the philanthropy that you do and the personal investment that not only have you made in yourself and to other people. Please enlighten our audience what the hell you did with a World War II ship.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's a great, great piece to wrap up.
And I'm really happy after where we've gone that this is how we're going to close the ShaneTrain because this is beautiful.
Thank you, dude. And you're going to explain everything about it, but just picture this giant ship with this giant metal octopus and
ship.
Chris just run. It's badass.
It's awesome. So the first thing, again, full disclosure. This project wasn't created by me. I jumped on and became a part of it. And so this was created by my friends, Adika and Mike, and who are part of the Maverick group. What it is we took a ship, and this ship is called the Kodiak Queen, and it was one of the few ships to survive Pearl Harbor. And surprisingly so, because it was a refueling vessel, right? So this thing was full of fuel. Had they hit it, it would have blown up and like destroyed other ships around it.
Yeah. Wow.
It survived there. And it was found by this gentleman, Owen Buggy, down in the BVIs. Just literally abandoned, rusted, half sunken, everything else. And he had an idea, which is like, I wonder if we could do something with this. Mike and Adika saw it and started to have an idea around it, then built a team of artists, these awesome artists who I got to work with. And we took that ship. It was raised up. I can't think of the right words. It was like, unsunken.
Yeah.
And
brought back to life.
Yeah, brought back to life onto shore. And then we built, and I went down there as a welder more than anything else, like a welder and a grinder and just metal worker to create this. I think it's an 80-foot Kraken, right, from tip to tip that literally like is on the end of the ship, wrapping its tentacles all the way around as if it's trying to take the ship down.
It's fierce.
It's badass.
It's fierce. And it's, if you see pictures of it before a ship, like it almost doesn't look real with some of the drone shots. It looks like it's like this augmented reality like thing that's like rendered on top of it. 100% real. I mean, I've got the cuts and everything else to prove it. And we built it. And the purpose around this, here's what I love about the project. And not only was it bringing art, right? You get the art of creating this massive sculpture, but it's art with a purpose. The ship was then taken out. It was sunk in the BVIs to create literally the world's best dive site, because that the mesh that we use to cover the octopus is set up in such a way that it allows for reef to grow upon it. So over the course of the next few years, reef will grow on that and it become a living sculpture that's down there engulfing this World War II ship. And this project was done in tandem with Richard Branson and the Virgin Unite project, with the government, the BVIs, and with businesses down there. So you get this whole like philanthropy thing of creating and donating this sculpture to the BVIs to help with tourism. Then you get this piece of it where I didn't realize, but many of the children in the British Virgin Islands, they don't know how to swim. They're literally afraid of the ocean. They are surrounded by the ocean and are afraid of it.
Wow.
And so there's this project where they get to be taken out and taught how to swim as a result of some of the proceeds that come in from this dive site.
So
right?
cool.
And then there's businesses. So we've empowered the diving businesses in the region to take it forward. So they actually get to profit from it and care for it and take it forward and everything else. So it's fully sustainable, because I believe that business done right is one of the most sustainable engines for change, right? So this isn't just a charity project. It's charity plus government plus meaning plus art plus a philanthropy, all wrapped into something that will last well past my lifetime.
Now that's a mission statement.
Yeah, we got to post a link and some pictures of that. It's badass.
Yeah,
we'll
put
get it up there.
Chris,
it's truly phenomenal, man. I look at it, and I don't know how to dive yet, right? I was there to build it, and now I have a reason to lean in, because I also have a fear of, let's circle back to the thing. I have a fear of swimming in deep ocean. And so I get to lean into that now to learn how to dive, so I can see the thing that I helped to create, right? And know that it'll be around and affecting others for 10s or 20s or hundreds of years.
it makes me want to dive.
So I get
man.
a sense that the four of us should head down there and see this.
Yeah, it makes me want to dive.
Hell yeah.
Especially when reef's growing on that. It's going to be so awesome.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Chris, for people that are listening that want more Chris, where would you send them? What's your site?
Yeah. ChrisPlough.com. It's finally getting some attention, and that's where I'm going to start posting my philosophies and lessons I've learned, and doing my best to be able to equip people for the world that's coming. And that's my mission statement, man. I am here to equip people as a whole, and more specifically, epic entrepreneurs for the world that's coming, so that we can help to shape it.
Do you have a Twitter for the DMs?
I do, absolutely. Chris Plough.
We'll link the hell
Beautiful
out of
thing
it too.
is, there seems to only be a couple Chris Ploughs in the world, and I have monopolized every online property.
Nice
So
work.
if you just think of Chris Plough on pretty much any social media, you can probably find me.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and
Easy.
It's Plough, Plough.
Perfect.
And we'll link it up tons. Is there anything you want to throw in before closing this out? I have enjoyed every single second of this, man. You delivered.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. At least I know it'll make it past the committee, the shitty committee, right?
Oh, calling out the committee.
Yeah.
So I've been shocked. We recorded, 18 episodes, and 4 got cut. One of them was like, I didn't know that would get cut, but I'm glad you acknowledged the committee. It's the only way to keep quality up, and I bet it'll pass, man. I can't see what. I've enjoyed it enough.
I think he's the first person to call the committee.
Yeah,
out,
thank
so.
you, Chris.
Yeah.
Paying attention,
It's
man.
kind of a
Well,
big
I
deal.
do so
like that.
on purpose, right? Because you wanted me to reflect back. And so where I turn this to is, I appreciate integrity. It's one of my core values. And to have the integrity to say, we're going to take the time to do this, right? And the time is valuable. right? We're going to take the time to do this. But more importantly, if this isn't worthwhile, if this doesn't move the needle for the people that we're trying to help, we won't post it.
Oh my
Dude,
God.
that's incredible. I love that. That resonated with me deeply.
We nailed it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
How else would you end that?
Yeah, we couldn't say it any better.
That's awesome.
Chris, man, I want to personally thank you. After the weekend that I had, I'm looking at 7 days ago, I united with the team that changed my life forever. And you, sir, just put a capstone on my realization that the good things lie on the other side of fear.
Yep.
Lit.
I love this.
That's awesome.
Um,
Thank you.
Yeah.
said it probably too many times, but you're a badass motherfucker, and thank you for coming on, man.
Dude, thank you for this. This has been almost 2 hours.
I
Yeah.
know.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
We didn't know our format. It looks like we might be kind of long format because I enjoy it too much. Well, thanks, man. I'll be talking to you soon at Mastermind Talks, end of the month. I'm guessing you're going.
Beautiful. I am. I will absolutely be there.
All right. Well, I'll see you in person. This has been awesome.
Thanks, Chris.
Cool.
See you later, Chris.
All right, brothers. Take care.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.
You guys got to run. I got to pee so bad.
Yeah.
We got to run because you got to run.
Yeah, no, we'll keep talking. We'll handle this for a moment. Man,
I just want to point out that last time he did that, I was by myself.
That's true. That
And he
you were
said-
solo because I was in Texas.
Yeah, he's like, you can talk for a minute straight, right?
Yeah, no, I'm
Zoom.
not going to leave you alone on this.
Yeah.
Mason, I'd like to hear, man, how do you feel after that?
I feel good. Yeah, I mean, I feel like there are things that I've been sitting on, thumbtacks, that I can,
What a good way to put it.
that
Yeah.
I feel like I need to just get my shit together. But that's every millennial, right?
Man, you're wearing that crown, right?
I know.
You're just owning the millennial,
It's a badge,
aren't you?
dude.
Yeah.
It's a get out of jail free card.
You know, when I was your age, yeah, see, here we go.
Whoa. Whoa.
I was really proud to be a Gen Xer, and I
Yeah?
felt like very symbolic. It was like,
You shouldn't.
yeah. It was like the first president I voted for was Clinton. It was just like,
Whoa.
yeah, whoa,
You
thank
know what
you.
mine was?
I don't want to know because
Obama.
you're a baby. Are you?
Obama was 08.
Yeah.
I turned 18 that year.
Oh my God.
Yep. First term, I voted for him, and second.
I already didn't have a voice, and you just took it away. No, I think it's cool. One, man, I love the fact that you own that hat, and two, I love the fact that we've been doing this so long that we've got this comfortable nature about the guests that we have, the way that we talk, the way that we flow.
Yeah.
And it's very cool that we can have a guest on that still takes it, because we've covered a variety of people, man.
Oh, yeah.
From, and I don't want to give any spoilers because I don't know where the shitty I don't know if the shitty committee is going to pass this. I don't know where we're going to put it. I don't know where it's going to lie. But for me, this episode really hit home. It really hit home because it was, I believe, in personal ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we create our own darkness and we create our own light. And we've talked a lot about anxiety. We've talked a lot about depression. And I realized that a lot of that, and I'm not saying anything about you're alone, you're on an island. So much of this relies on our own choice. Mm-hmm. So much of it.
Yeah.
And I believe it even more now after having that conversation.
That just backs it up even more for you.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I meant
cool.
when I said to him, this is like a huge capstone for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's beyond symbolic on top of the week that I had.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that there are personal motivators out there in the world, not only putting out good energy, but believing in themselves enough that they are taking the time to believe in other people.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It is.
It's an A and B world, right? Either A, you help people, or B, you don't. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's up to you. We all have free agency. And I love the fact that this dude really seems to get off on helping everybody else.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
What's your, we just talked a little bit about our takeaway. What's your takeaway?
You guys probably obviously tell I'm a fanboy.
You're just
of
going to
Chris
break dance
Plough.
even harder.
I know, I am going to break dance harder.
You should. Pop and lock it, homie.
I never got to do mine.
What?
My thing that I was going to break through with.
Yeah, tell me.
No, I'm good. I'm straight. Nah.
Yeah, you passed that shit off
I skated
onto me.
right by that.
I had it on my to-do, and I forgot.
We're not ending this episode until we hear yours.
Throw it at me.
Not right now. Go ahead.
No, that's not cool, man.
Let's make it natural. Go ahead.
No, we both bared our soul. Hey, stop sitting on those thumbtacks.
You guys won't laugh, right?
Why would we, homie?
Not on purpose.
Because that's what you do to me.
You're pretty Gucci.
That's what you do.
You're lit, fam.
I laugh at you too.
Okay, that's fair.
Surely I've exposed enough for it. Whatever
Okay,
you're going to
so-
say is stupid.
For the last few years, there's been a goal of mine that I've chickened out on every time.
Okay.
By the end of the year, I have this book And you guys know I'm pretty sarcastic. No, I don't have a book. I'm writing. Slow your roll
Okay,
there,
go ahead.
buddy.
Sorry.
My eyebrows are staying on my head.
Asshole.
So I have this book. I think I'm a funny guy. I'm pretty sarcastic. I have a book of jokes. I'm going to do an open mic at Wise Guys.
Oh, my God, dude.
Oh, that's huge.
That's badass.
You
dude.
really-
I've wanted to do it for 2 years.
Oh
I've
my
chickened
God.
out every time. I have a friend who did it, and he says the good thing is everyone sucks, so even if you suck, it's not
Oh
a big
my
deal.
God.
I've probably said 20 times to 20 people Mason's witty as fuck.
Yeah. I got to tell you, everyone
I
that I've shown
wanna do
this
it.
show to, no offense to you and I, Shane, Mason is their favorite. He's like the glue in the middle.
Nah.
He doesn't speak much, but when he speaks, he
Wow.
delivers, and he's witty. You're witty, man. You got this
No.
shit.
So that's what I want to do. Maybe it's a thumbtack that I'm sitting on, but
Dude, millennial
Last
No,
few
not
years-
maybe. I think that is a thumbtack, man. You might have identified.
so there'll be like at home there'll just be like a conversation between like you and me, and it'll just be like Will said this, I said this, and it'll be hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I wouldn't put your name, but
You're
should
talking
put
about
his name.
yummy, right? Like you can't say fucking yummy.
no, those
with
are
a full beard.
those are show jokes.
Show jokes.
Yeah, those are LLC ShaneTrain.
Shane, how do we facilitate this?
We
man?
don't. We don't.
I think he's on it.
Yeah, you're
But
on
we
it.
could put something like
Let's not.
an
Yeah.
eyebrow thing.
Let's not.
Yeah.
No.
Want to give us an
No
eyebrow
fucking
date?
eyebrows.
Eyebrow date.
No, by the end
Put
of
it
the
out
year.
as far as you want.
I got
Okay,
it.
yeah.
By the end of
I
the year.
got it. By
Hey,
the end of the year.
Well, he just eyebrow dated.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the
End of the year.
It was supposed to be the end of the year last year.
I got
and
it.
the end of
Fuck
got it.
yeah. So he's in.
I
You're
got
in,
it.
man.
If you don't do this by the end of the year, I'm gonna record you doing the truffle shuffle
Oh God,
on
that's
YouTube.
worse than going on the stage.
What about eyebrows? Worse than eyebrows?
the real like real.
Eyebrows
We've
are
also-
longer lasting. What are you
Yeah,
talking about?
Yeah, and I had to put myself out there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to do the truffle shuffle, would you?
No.
We're talking full on
Yeah,
Goonies style.
no.
Yeah.
But you guys realize at some point by the end of next year, we're all going to be missing our eyebrows for some reason. We're all going to not.
No, I won't. I deliver,
You will be.
motherfucker.
No,
If I-
because we'll be so mad about not having eyebrows,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll-
hold you down
we'll
and
find
shave
it.
you.
We'll
that
find it.
might happen, but I'm gonna deliver.
Yeah,
if
I want
say
you to
I'm
like
gonna
drop cardboard in the middle of City Creek or something with your big old boom box.
deliver. Oh shit, man! I still
Dude,
suck.
I wouldn't do that. You'll shake the foundation of City Creek, it'll fall over
I know.
Whoa.
with that block rocket.
I do have a block rocker.
You are pretty street, Shane.
I'm
You
so
know what I like?
excited for Mason's comedy.
Do not,
thing.
don't do that.
Millennial Mason, you've
So-
already got like you got leads, you got people listening,
Yeah.
Don't have
and now
leads.
you got fans showing. I bet fans show up.
No,
Okay.
please don't. That's
so
the last
for the
thing we want.
audience,
do.
for the audience listening out there, we want emails. We want comments on how good Mason would be on stage.
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't.
And
We
if
don't.
you are willing to back our Eminem up, or you like that, our Eminem, you're willing to back our Millennial Mason up, we want you there, Wise Guys.
Oh, they'll
Don't.
be there.
We
I
do.
guarantee
We
every
do.
single Utah fan will be there.
Mason. I just hear it. I
I'd
just hear
rather.
it.
I'd be more comfortable if no one was there.
Okay.
No,
Just the other shitty comics.
no, it's a stupid thing to do, man. I want you to have a full pack
That's,
house.
I'm so glad you put that out there. That's
That's
awesome,
huge.
man. I'm
That's
proud
huge.
of you.
Yeah.
That's big.
Fuck.
Yeah, I'm not very proud
You
of
should
you.
ask Alex
but, like,
about
nice
it.
job.
Every year I'm like, dude, I want to do this.
Well, it sounds like you're gonna do it this year.
It sounds
Or
like
else.
Well, yeah.
Or-
so. It
fucking
kind of
hell.
goes something like this.
No,
Yeah.
you can shave my eyebrows. What does that say about me though? That I'd rather have my eyebrows gone than.
Do the truffle shuffle.
So then, yeah, I should truffle shuffle.
This
Yeah.
is one of our best,
Fuck.
gentlemen.
It's fucking
cool, man.
thumbtacks.
Yeah, it's been cool. Thumbtacks.
Dang it, thumbtacks.
Thank you, Chris.
ShaneTrain,
Yeah.
tie it in for us.
Ooh, I haven't thought of anything to tie it in. I'm witnessing this theme happening right now, and you got back, and everything's on the other side of fear. Chris Plough, everything's on the other side of fear or anxiety. You know, he has the categories. Mason just threw something out. So, like, if you can take anything from this episode, take the fact that you got to push it. You got to call yourself out and
I got something too.
go out of the comfort
No,
zone.
go ahead.
No, wrap it. I don't have a great wrap up. That's it for
Oh,
me.
my wrap up was that ladies, he has a huge dong. So
So
It's fair, right?
if you're going to get naked
Here's-
while nervous on a cold stage,
you have a huge dong.
you're
at that
probably
point.
okay.
I love the fact that like he followed that with no, I'm Irish, and then
No.
and then I was sitting like asshole, I'm Irish too.
You don't get it. I'm Irish.
Wow, what do they say in Good Will Hunting? Fuck you and your Irish curse, and she's got a
Yeah.
little pinky up there.
That's
huh?
true.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
This
All
is
I'm
awesome.
saying is it doesn't matter. I wouldn't do that.
I'm really happy that listeners have got to this point because I have a feeling they're shutting it off now.
Yeah,
Whatever.
we're long form.
We don't do this for the listeners.
No,
That's true.
no.
We're all like, if no one listens to this, would we still do this?
You know who we do it
Yeah.
for?
Who?
Jameson.
Yeah.
Where the hell's our
Yeah,
palate?
palette. It's
Yeah.
not arrived yet.
And we want to check for that follow.
yeah.
Yeah,
Seriously.
it's pretty messed up, man.
Yeah.
Can many people see that?
I want a leprechaun out front. That's what I want.
We need enough listeners where like Jameson's like, we'll pay you $1,000 an episode.
That'd be awesome.
And I'll be like, that's not enough.
No.
Sadly, I'm spending money every day on Jameson. So anyway.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to throw out there, we don't know when this is going to air.
Yeah, true.
No.
Yeah, we don't know what season. We don't know what the fuck's going on.
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
is this the Shane Train signing off?
Yeah, it's been fun, man. This has been a good one.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
So, as Shane says, man, push past the fear.
Yeah.
Just push it. Later.
Bye.
Bye.
They call me a listener, they say that I should start to explore everything. Oh, I may be a listener and maybe I should. There's joy in the message I bring. Shane Train, Shane Train. I am free and at ease, I record what I please. Shane Train, Shane Train, Shane Train.